welcome to episode 220 on Musings. We are live, so it must be 10 o'clock on a Wednesday.
It must be. And look at that, it is.
Yes, it is.
At least in our part of the world. Elsewhere, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. So, hey, I got to thank you, Scott, for coming out. For those that know, I turned 50 on Saturday. Scott and Jill came out and joined us for a little celebration with some of my closest friends and family that were in the area.
But don't worry, maturity-wise, he is still under 21.
Pretty much. So I'm illegally drinking, and I was illegally drinking all day Saturday.
It was fun. Jill and I loved going out there, seeing everybody. It was fun meeting your other friends too. I must say, I thought I was like me and Kevin were your only friends. So I'm like, wait a minute, who are these people?
I have a whole nother life without you guys, surprisingly.
See, I don't have other friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone's there. Jackie came out with John, and I met Jackie while doing Shipped, and she's also a fellow shifter, and Jackie and John is the one I went to Universal with back in January. Yep, morning for Red's living room. Yep, Kevin's out in the living room now.
What, he is?
Yeah, he came in last night because we fly out this afternoon to go do the Colorado Springs Comic Con. So it's been a busy several days, and then
had a sleepover.
Yeah, and the dog wasn't happy about it because he wanted in everybody's room. And but yeah, I mean, Jan came out. She's been a good friend for a while. And of course, my cousin John with my cousin Cindy and their son Shane came out. Heather, good friend of ours, came out. So it's just a great group of people. Yeah. Mom and my one of my closest friends, Emily, helped put this on. And Emily brought her fiance Justin with her, and just a great time. And people got to meet people that I've talked about here and there that never met, and everybody just had a great time. It was only a couple hours.
The restaurant was great too. What's it called? Dos Fuentes or
Dos Fuentes? Yeah, I've been going to. They had Los Fuentes, which is actually still there. It's in the strip mall behind where the restaurant is, and that building originally was a Baker Square, then became a Kirby's Coney Island, and then after those closed, they bought it up and spent over 2.5 years renovating the place. All the furniture in there was made in Mexico by friends of the owners, and brought up so it says their name on it, carvings, all the artwork too. It was great.
The art on the walls was really good.
But yeah, the food is fantastic, and I'm really good. And that's the place that we like to go to. That's our go-to Mexican place for the area here, and it's only like 5 minutes from the house, so it's really great.
Right.
And
then Kevin and Brandy got a custom-made cake for you that was delicious.
Yeah, it had Animaniacs all over it. That was really cool.
That was from a local bakery in their neck of the woods.
Yeah, they did Kevin's cake. I think, were you there in Indiana when we surprised Kevin for his 40th?
Was it the horror cake?
No, that was this past one was the horror one. The one before was the Beetlejuice snake.
No,
cake.
I think I only saw photos.
Okay. So, but yeah, it was just a great job all around on the cake. Loved it. So, in fact, I'll kind of show you a little bit. It's kind of hard to see, but there it is.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yep.
It was super sugar.
And then
by the end of my piece, I was like, whoa.
There we go. And that
was funny.
So by Augustine.
When we were going to go sing Happy Birthday, and they came up behind Brett, and unbeknownst to him, slipped the sombrero upon his head. And
which I knew was going to come eventually.
You started speaking fluent Mexican, I think, Spanish.
Yeah, I was able to order everything I wanted to eat.
But it was a good time. We really enjoyed it a lot.
Yep, and I appreciate the card and the little gift you guys had for me in there. That was fun. We didn't do it's funny because we were all sitting around talking, having such a great time, and we were only there for 2 hours. Thought that'd be enough, but I think we could all stay there another hour or so
easily.
And because everybody's having a good time, and so it's like I know people. I told a few of us when I get back, I'll have to try to get together soon and all that. And then next week, my cousin Cindy was there, and John, their son Jerry's coming back from Germany. So when I get back next Tuesday, I got a little to do right after I land because I have a couple appointments. But I'm hoping to pop over there to say hi to him because he's been over in Germany for the last. He got there just before COVID hit, so he's been there this whole time working for Mercedes. So. Nice. So it'll be nice to see him back in that. But yeah, it was a great time. I'm so glad everybody came out. Thanks for coming to celebrate me for a little bit. So
yep, good times.
Yeah.
You only turned 50 once, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't think I can do it again. Yeah. Not looking for any do-overs. Not looking for any, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. New trailers out, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
Oh, that's right. We'll have to talk about that a little. We got a lot to talk about. I'll just really quick too. I'll just mention. So we saw Brett on Saturday for his birthday. Then Sunday, I have never been to a NASCAR event, so we went to the Firekeepers 400 at the Michigan International Speedway, MIS, out in Brooklyn, Michigan. Great time. It was a lot of fun. We were 7th row at one of the turns. It's amazing the amount of power in those cars as they go by. But it was a lot of fun. So thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely recommend trying it out. Bring cushions. They're like metal bleachers halfway through. I'm getting too old to sit on metal bleachers for 3 hours in the hot sun. So my butt was killing me, but it was still fun.
Yeah, you got to get those stadium seats.
One thing about NASCAR, I will say, men, if you want to walk around shirtless, do some sit-ups, do some workouts. Yeah, I exercise. I am not in shirtless shape. I should not be seen shirtless in public. And 99% of the men at that NASCAR event should not have been shirtless. Just because you can take off your shirt doesn't mean you should.
Well, it's kind of the Jeff Foxworthy thing, but it's in reverse where they talk about, a woman dancing by herself at 7's taking her shirt's coming off. Man shows up at NASCAR and there's beer and his shirt's coming off by the 3rd turn.
It was not good. It was, back on Friends, they talked about bad naked. I think they talked about like things you shouldn't do while naked. That's how this is. Or that might have been Seinfeld, actually.
Now, did you do the redneck shit? Did you pick a car, you had your beer, and you only cheered when they came by? Like, no, here you go. Woo!
Yeah. I didn't really know anybody. I was just cheering against Bubba Wallace because I don't like him. So anyone else winning was fine with me, which ended up happening. But in all seriousness, it was fun. When it starts, so they go around the track as they're kind of getting the tires warmed up and getting ready to start. And then they get up to full speed and they start the race. That first pass they do, because they're all in a pack and they're going full speed, it was insane. The loudness and power, you could feel the rumbling. A big wind was created that we could feel every time they went by. You could feel a wind go by. The other interesting thing too, if you go, bring covered, they serve drinks in cups. First of all, FYI, if you don't buy the lemonade there, it's the worst lemonade I've ever had. And it was $7 and it tastes like horrid. It was bad. But anyways, they serve it in a cup with no cover. Well, from those cars going by, you end up with this fine black rubber debris on you and in your drinks. It's like, why would you serve a cup with no cover at a place where you're going to get rubber flecks in your thing? At one point I got hit by something too. It was enough to feel it, but it didn't like hurt or anything. But it was like, a little piece of rubber shot off a tire, But it was fun. It was unique. Is it something I would want to do every year? Probably not for me, but every 3 to 5 years, I think it'd be fun for me. But good times.
Yeah, I've been out there a couple times. I went out there several years ago. A couple people, and we worked the whole weekend in terms of helping the Boy Scouts. After the races, we helped clear a section of stands, and then the Boy Scouts got all the returns because, of course, 10 cents a bottle adds up pretty quick. Yeah. And don't know if they still do that or not. But nice thing is we got to see the race for free. A fun thing was we got to hang out and do the stuff there in the center where all the
that's
people
where
are
the party is. Yeah.
And at nighttime, I think it's insane at night. It was interesting. The amount of debauchery that was going on.
Yeah, there was one guy who looked pretty rough, walking around asking women to take their tops off. I'm just like, come on, dude. Thankfully, none of them obliged him.
Well, and if you're out in the center thing where all the campers are and all, they have their basically they set their lot for the weekend and everything else, you don't have to ask.
Yeah. Now I will say we were at the turn, so I did time it too. This is amazing. The track is 2 miles for one lap. I timed it. It took 39 seconds for them to go all the way around in 2 miles. So they were going an average of 180 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. That's the average speed. So, the straightaway on the far end was the fastest point of the track. So they had to be getting above 200 over there.
Yeah.
I don't know. But there was a couple accidents we saw. Everyone seemed to be okay. I would say, though, so we were sitting on the turn. So you couldn't see what was happening in pit row where we were sitting. So I would like to go again, but sit in the center part so you could watch the pit crews work.
You should check into getting pit passes, and I think you can go down to the pits prior to the race, and that'd be a cool experience to really check out that club close to what they do and things like that. So.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. So
I know our friend from T-24, Vinny, when he goes to Indy, he's supposed to they've done the pit stuff and things like that. So that's a lot of fun in that. So hey, let's get some ad reads out real quick because we want to keep talking. I'll start us off with Larger Family Chiropractic Center PC, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. This is their Facebook page at Larger Family Chiro, and they got a call now button. Their phone number there is 734-697-4244, and they take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young limb oils, lumbar therapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. Give a call. 734-697-4244. Visit them at largerfamilychiropractic.com. We always have a link up there at oddmusings.com for you, or like I said, visit the Facebook page at Larger Family Chiro. I was there yesterday, and after a fun weekend, plus working pretty much every day other than Saturday and Sunday, other than I go out Sunday and work, I needed a good chiropractic adjustment. It felt much better, especially with getting ready to fly this afternoon and head out there. And then Scott.
Team Titans of Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. Team Titans of Real Estate. We utilize the latest in tools and technology to maximize your home buying experience. But we never forget that at the end of the day, it's still a people business, and we can't nothing's a cookie cutter approach. Everybody has different needs and stuff. One thing I want to say is this, just like in other industries, get a second opinion. It's okay to get a second opinion. We have these clients here. They went with a certain person as their agent with a certain mortgage company, and for months they've been trying to do something, and nothing's been happening. They're not getting the pre-approval. They're getting the runaround. They were told they can't do anything till next year. They came to us, and we hooked them up with a mortgage lender we do a lot of business with. He reviewed their account, and he was able to give them a pre-approval based on their current circumstances. They had a unique situation that the other company wasn't taking into account. So we were able to get the pre-approval. After 5 days of looking at houses, we made an offer, got it accepted first try, which was great in this market. And yes, this afternoon, we're doing the home inspection after the show. So, just because someone tells you can't do something, it's okay to ask for another opinion and have a fresh set of eyes look at your situation, because sometimes someone else might see something that the other person didn't. So give us a call. My number, 586-549-6096, or Jill Webler, 586-277-2145.
Awesome. Yeah, it was so great to see Jill. I hadn't seen Jill in a few months, and I was really glad because you weren't sure if she was going to come last week, so that's really
we had her kids this last weekend, but we were able to make arrangements, and so we could slip out for a couple hours for the luncheon. And she had a great time too. She was glad she finally got to meet Brandy in person, so that was nice. She's met Kevin before, and obviously you and Connie. So, but it was really nice just seeing everybody.
Awesome on that. So, hey, I was going to share something here, so let me pull it up on my screen. I after the podcast last week, I took off with my friend Emily. You got to meet, and she. Part of my birthday this year was she took me to the Henry Ford for the Jim Henson exhibition.
Oh, nice.
I have pictures I meant to upload and didn't get a chance to. You get to see actual puppets. Like they had one of the Count puppets from the 70s. They had a Bert and Ernie from the 70s and one from the 80s. They had all kinds of really cool stuff, talked about things he did, his life, stuff like that. If you're a member of the Henry Ford already, it's free to check this out. So there's no additional fee to see this. But if you do buy a regular ticket to get in, you can go see this also. They didn't have any merchandise for sale or anything like that, but it was just an awesome. We were in there probably a good hour or so because it's not huge, but it's big enough. And you can go through as much as you want, stay as much time in it. They're not timed or anything like that. So it's only till right here, September 6th, 2021.
Oh, what's cool is I actually got to meet one of those puppets in real life prior. Our friend Tommy Castillo has a real Kermit the Frog.
Yep.
He had one of those at the house when we went there way back when.
Oh gosh, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it's been several years. And I know Sammy still got it. She'll never get rid of Kermit.
Oh no.
So, but
yeah, it was cool when he showed off his real Kermit the Frog.
Yep,
that was neat.
And then we have Great Lakes Comic Expo a couple years ago. Got to meet some of the cast members from Sesame Street. So of course they worked with a lot of the Henson puppets, stuff like that. But besides like the Kermit stuff like that, they had the original dress and the outfit from Labyrinth. So they had the Goblin King and then the ballroom dress, which was cool. Then they had from Dark Crystal, they had the Agra puppet, which is actually really huge. It was really gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
And same thing with the two Gelflings that were in it. So that they had those there and things like that. So they're pretty well preserved. And then they had original drawings, scripts, things like that from the TV series he first started on back in the late 50s, early 60s. You see stuff about the Muppet Show, of course, and all that stuff. So
and
just really cool.
He was such a pioneer in that whole industry there. I mean, and then of course his association even with George Lucas, Yoda.
Yep.
You know, that was through his association with Henson that characters like Yoda came about, or even he used their puppeteers, I believe, for Jabba the Hutt and some other things too. So Jim Henson really was a power, and it was such a shame too, losing him the way we did.
Well, he was such a hard worker. He constantly just worked. He was always creating, working stuff, things like that. And he had I remember when it happened, because they said he had walking pneumonia and it didn't treat it, and it just attacked his heart. And
it was just too late by the time he went in.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, because had he taken care of it early, he probably would have been fine.
Yeah, he could still be with us today, be in his 80s and that. So, but I loved it. It was great. I loved it. If you've never been to the Henry Ford or Greenfield Village, that's another place in Michigan to come check out. That's really cool. It's a historical theme park's way to put it. We did walk through the village after we did the Henson stuff. We'd already been to the museum a couple times in the last couple of years, so didn't really see a whole lot. I did do one cool thing. They have a new auto area with racing and stuff like that, and you can actually you pay for it, but it's only like $7 or something. And you sit in a simulator driving like a Formula One on the streets.
Oh, cool.
This one was in Milan, so it's an actual course, things like that. And they tell you got to hold on to the wheel, don't let go. And it's an actual simulator they use for training.
Oh, wow.
And you're racing against other people. I came in second because of the last turn. I just never could get that last turn right.
So did it feel like?
You're moving. Feeling? It's the rumble, everything. It was really cool. It was really cool. They gave you like a couple laps as a trial, and then you get a couple laps for the actual race. So it was a good 10, 15 minutes or so in that thing doing it. So I got out. It was kind of like you feel yourself going, oh. So, but then we just went. The village was open to walk, but they didn't really have any exhibits going because, of course, they're limited on staff and things like that. Right. They weren't running the trains right now. And stuff like that, but hopefully next year they'll have everything back up running fully. But definitely check out. I say, the Henry Ford, they call it now. We've always called it Greenfield Village, which is still just the village itself, and then the Henry Ford Museum. But the whole complex is the Henry Ford, and they're building more stuff around it. So it's a cool thing, and it's educational at times. So
very cool.
Check that out. So that's what I did, and then so that was kind of fun.
All right. So what about the Marvels? What If?
I haven't watched today's episode yet.
So right now, let's see. I am at the 17-minute. I'm halfway through today's episode. I have it on my other screen here. But I'll just give what the premise is. I won't say anything. It's what if. The premise is when Nick Fury puts together the Shield team, the Avengers team. What we don't realize a lot of times, it's hard to remember, is Thor, the Ed Norton Hulk, and Iron Man, they all kind of happen within like a week of each other. It's all happening simultaneously. So this What If episode is, what if the bad guys figured out the Avenger Initiative and took out the Avengers before they became the Avengers?
Oh, that's cool.
So it's an interesting thing they're doing. So they're tying in those three movies, the events of those three movies, but altering them for the storyline, for what's happening. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, very cool. I look forward to watch that. May try to get that in before we head out to the airport here, because they're not very long. They're long enough though,
Yeah.
which is a good story. So, but yeah,
I like
last
it
week's
better
was
than
the
last week's.
last week's was the Wakanda one, and I don't dislike last week's. I felt last week's was more, and they got all the actors, so pretty much almost everybody you see except for like Drax and a couple others were acted voiced by the actors from the movies. So Chadwick Boseman does Black Panther.
Yeah.
I felt they were trying to be. They made it too much of. He would just change the entire galaxy. The problem I have with that point is, it's like maybe as an adult, he could have been more the way he was, but they got him when he was 8. So while he had some training, he had some influence and stuff like that, he wouldn't have had, I think, as much insight to become this great galaxy world's universe savior that they made him out to be.
Yeah, basically his superpower was being Chadwick Boseman, and basically just his mere presence brought peace everywhere he went, which that's the part I didn't like. Yeah. They like shoehorned this story in just to say how wonderful he is, which he was a great guy, and his story is amazing. He was amazing as Black Panther. But like you said, he would have been raised by the Ravagers. He wouldn't have had the same demeanor, I don't think, and gravitas as if he was raised in the royal family in Wakanda.
Well, and that's what they made it like. He came out and he stayed with them, and he changed the Ravagers, and then he changed.
It's just wherever he went.
And we're gonna have some spoilers in here, guys. But he changed. He like stopped the snap happening by talking with Thanos and reasoning with him.
And he just by talking to Thanos gave up his whole dream and ambition, and he became a good guy.
Right. So, and that was and the whole thing. And even though he still talked about, he still wanted to do that. I mean, it was funny, some of the little quips stuff like that. But the premise of it, I felt it wasn't a good what if, because I don't believe even in a what if universe that would have happened. And what all that changed was, instead they grabbed the wrong kid. They basically. Because Yondu outsourced it to Gunn's character. I forget his name of his character, Ravager, that we know from the movies and that. Him and actually him and was a Taserface.
Taserface
made another appearance, and they went down and because they were drawn to the power of Wakanda, and the kid had run out at that point, they snatched him instead of Peter Quill. Yeah. So we get that whole thing, and the universe is great, stuff like that.
And a lot of comments I saw online, people would rather see the Peter Quill story that they teased at the very end. People were like, "Wait, that's the story I want."
Kurt Russell, voiced by Kurt Russell, shows up as Ego, and there's Quill working at the Dairy Queen you see in the second movie, and he basically they tease that little thing. That's the story that should have been told. Right. I mean, they should have said, "Okay, here's what if," and then he goes out, and they could do the whole Black Panther thing in like 10 minutes and say, "Out there." But back on Earth at this time, when things are, when he's an adult, here's what happened. And then the what if would be them coming out, and then that would have made a better story in the long run. So
it was worth the watch, but it's not one that was like wow to me. This one I'm liking better. I really like the first one. The first one I think so far was probably the best one out of the 3 I've seen so far. But I'm liking this third one so far.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing the third one. I'll check that out later today. Like, so once we get done, since Kevin's hanging out, maybe we'll pop it on in the living room for a bit before we head out. So we can take a look at that. But I like the what if stuff. I always like the comics. It's kind of make me want to go and try to see if they got any collections of the comics out there and reread some of that stuff. Because they were always fun. I always like the goofiness of some of them, or the ridiculous of the stories they try to come up with. And I even like that within other things. I don't know if you ever read them, Scott, but they did. They took the original Star Wars trilogy in comic form and did a what if of each movie, which was interesting on that.
That is interesting. It's always a fun line of thought, even like even with the whole. Like the choose your own adventure books. That was a form of what if, because you could always go back and say, well, what if I chose this way? And you could see the outcome from going different ways. So it's always a fun question to ask. And Star Wars, with such a large universe to it, what if Leia trained to be a Jedi? What if Luke went to the dark side? What if Uncle Owen didn't want Luke and he was raised by Jawas?
Yeah. Well, I can't remember. I have to go back because I got the trades for those Star Wars Empire and Jedi, and I know that each one it was like they had to start from a certain point to get the story they wanted. But so it was a lot of it was really hindering on Leia more than Luke.
Yeah.
But there were some other aspects. They were always fun, especially the first one. I think was best for A New Hope, but then the other ones were good too for different things. But I like that. I like that kind of speculation on what if this, what if that, and so it's pretty cool. So I definitely recommend the What If series. So
Yeah. So I have another what if.
yeah.
What if Reminiscence was a good movie? Oh my
So
God.
I hadn't even mentioned this to Scott. I tried to watch it last week, Friday, after I got home from work. I was settled on for the night, was ready to go to bed. So I like to pop a movie on and before I go to bed and relax and decompress. I got about half an hour into this and I'm falling asleep. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm just too tired. And I said, I'll try to watch it another time when I've got a little time to put during the day. And then Scott and Jill go and see it last night and they post. And Scott and Jill said,
worst movie ever. Oh, it was so bad. I so wanted to like this movie from the trailers. I was excited for it. And you know, Variety magazine, I'm sorry, but you guys either are complete morons or are just trying really hard to please Warner Brothers. But this headline, it crumbles with 2 million to view, highlighting struggle of movies amid an older audience. No,
that's a bunch of crap.
Free Guy did not. If that was true, Free Guy would have bombed too last week. No,
Yeah.
Free Guy was awesome.
Yes.
This movie was so bad. Oh my God. About a half hour into it, you're already thinking I made a mistake. And that's about when you tuned out too.
Right.
And we had multiple people comment on our post saying they also attempted to watch it online on HBO Max and stopped about a half hour in. It is so bad. This is classic Warner Brothers stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is my theory based upon the movie. Nothing of this movie makes sense. So they're setting it in this like dystopian future where the world is flooded and there's these haves and have-nots, and the wealthy are successful by stepping on the poor. You got to get that liberal agenda in there just to, create divide. And they're creating this whole world and structure they're trying to create, but it has zero need. It doesn't impact the story at all. They could have just as easily just set this story at kind of like Flatliners, the movie Flatliners. Just make it some experimental lab where they found a way to get into your memories and make it in modern day. It'd be the same thing. And at least if you did that, you would save a half hour of 45 minutes of storytelling of trying to set up this world that wasn't even needed. And then maybe you could have used that to actually tell a good story. So the setting made no sense. The story felt like multiple movies crammed together. And I have a feeling they had this idea for the original plot that was intriguing. It got greenlit. And then I bet then they got Hugh Jackman involved. And that's where Warner Bros. Said, well, wait a minute. We have Hugh Jackman. We need to have action scenes now. And we need to have this. And because certain scenes just did not feel like it was part of the movie. Like nothing. It felt like multiple movies edited together. So you had part sci-fi dystopian, part noir detective, part Hugh Jackman action movie, all cramped together. And here he is, this scientist studying dreams, but he turns out to be this mega badass ex-military guy who can fight everybody. And his medical assistant, what's her name? She was in Solo. She's also in Westworld. Everyone always confuses her with Zoe Saldana. Anyways.
Thandie Newton.
That's it. Yeah, so she's in it. Well, it turns out she's a super ex-sniper. So, like, there's this scene out of nowhere where she just comes busting in and she's just shooting everybody. It's like, what the heck? This doesn't even fit with the rest of the movie. I told Brett about it. And he's like, wait, there's action in this movie? Because it doesn't feel like it the first half hour. It's like, and then there's like these fight scenes that make no sense.
So I looked this up real quick to see who it's the same writer director. So it's Lisa Joy. Okay. And she is known for producing upcoming TV series Fallout, The Sun, and then Peripherals filming now. But she's an executive producer and producer on Westworld, Burn Notice. She's a writer on Westworld, Reminiscence, Burn Notice, and Pushing Daisies. So I know exactly what she's trying to do here. She was trying to be this quirky, different. So she threw in everything she do from Pushing Daisies, which is a quirky show, which had some good writing, to Westworld, which is this cerebral, got to get into people's brains and things aren't what you think they are crap. And then someone said, throw in giant spiders. And I don't know if they showed giant spider because I didn't make it past the half hour, but I'm looking at this going, everything she's done has been, and she did Burn Notice, stuff like that. And I'm going, okay, so she's been around for a little bit, but her credits aren't extensive.
And I think they were trying to throw in a little bit of Inception, where it's like, oh, you don't know where you're at. Are you in the memory? Or are you in the real world? So they were trying to create these layers and completely failed. Failed. Now, according to this, she's the only writer, but I would not be surprised that, like, I was expecting that writer from Wonder Woman 1984 to be thrown in here, the one that got added at the end.
This movie was what they call a spec script. So it was a script she wrote just to show she could write, and it was on the blacklist in 2013. Okay.
Well,
so what she is no, I think what we're seeing here is someone who landed in different things and got lucky. Oh, here we go. So she's not completely stupid. She did graduate Harvard Law. She is of Chinese descent, speaks Chinese fluently. She is the sister-in-law. Here's where she got into the movies. Christopher Nolan.
There you go. And Christopher Nolan tries this crap too.
Her husband is Jonathan Nolan, and so she's married to Christopher Nolan. And so and then it's in here
Christopher Nolan's good side.
Yeah, and before she ever sold her first script, she worked as an intern at the LA District Attorney's Office dealing with domestic violence. She got into the writing and stuff like that in the movies. And I gotta say, I don't know what she does on the other series because they are done by groups, but I have a feeling that she's really she needs to have someone come through, and she needs someone to rewrite her stuff and make it coherent and a good, feasible story.
Well, I said, to me, it felt like Inception a little bit, trying to copy that, which Christopher Nolan did Inception. Same with Tenet. Like, a lot of people said, I didn't see Tenet. I wanted to, but I just didn't. But
it's streaming, and I still haven't watched it.
I heard it wasn't that coherent either. Like, it's a very difficult movie to follow because the way it jumps back and forth, so.
But I think the problem with some of these movies like this, and I'm not going to list a bunch of them, but when you get movies that they're trying to be really cerebral, be very this uber intelligence and stuff like that, most of the time fail because they're trying to throw in everything they can to seem like they're intelligent, but all they sound like is some of the different comedians on like In Living Color and stuff like that were making fun of people sounding intelligent, but they sound ridiculous using big words.
Here's the reality. You will never write something more intelligent than what you are as the writer.
So and I'm not saying she's not intelligent.
And keep to that. No, I think intelligent.
I think the big thing is she didn't plot out her story effectively, and by not plotting it out and having working from point to point to point to point, it sounds like that she may have wrote this basic script and then went in and they added stuff in, but basically it sounds like they gave her the money. And this could also be a couple things. This could be a movie made on favors. Hugh Jackman.
That's what I think.
Hugh Jackman has contracts. He's got to do X amount of movies. So he does this one and says, I'll do this because I know the Nolans and stuff like that, because he's wanting to do something else with someone probably tied into it. Yep. Same thing with Tandy Newton. She's got her connections and stuff like that for everything else. So she was given basically a go ahead. And I bet you anything this movie was probably never meant to make any money. And this is one of those things that, because realistically, I didn't hear about it until like 3 weeks ago when they said, this is the next movie coming on HBO Max and hitting the theaters. I'm like, where'd this come from? Yeah. And, it made no sense on that. So now we got, this movie out there. So it feels like just a typical movie that Joe's brain hurts from watching that movie. Has nothing to do with being engaged to Scott, but no. But yeah, it's just, this happens a lot where you wonder why a named actor does a movie. It's because it's fulfilling contractual obligations. And it's like even if you go back to the Kevin Smith story, when he wanted to do Jersey Girl and have his buddy Ben Affleck in it. Ben Affleck's like, he goes, well, I gotta go do this movie, but I want to do this, and he worked it out with his contracts where he could do, Daredevil, and then right after go right into this one, and didn't have to get paid a whole lot because it was fulfilling some different agreements here and there.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this whole thing was given at like the favor route with Christopher Nolan and say, yeah, we'll give your wife a credit here. We'll.
It's his sister-in-law, so he's married to his brother.
Okay.
And but still, it's all in the family, and it's the nepotism on that.
But
and this is why we get bad movies.
Yeah. and here's the thing, and this may have been their attempt to get Oscar-worthy stuff too, but it's not going. I can't see it getting that. Walking out of the theater, I heard multiple comments from multiple people where you overhear people talking to each other going, that was a horrible movie. What did I just watch? Those kind of things. I heard from many people. It's just not one thing was cohesive in the whole thing. It just didn't make sense. So don't bother with it. It's not even worth watching for free on HBO Max. It's not.
Yeah. So, hey, Stacy, I haven't seen Stacy in a couple weeks. How you doing? So, Stacy, if you're listening, do not watch that Hugh Jackman movie. No matter how attractive you think he is, it's just not working. Throw in X-Men 3, much better movie.
Much better movie. Much better. Yeah. As far as Hugh goes, the acting itself, the acting wasn't bad. The 100% of the issue is story, writing.
See, here's the thing.
Editing.
We don't have to give him action scenes. He's shown in other movies. He's a good actor that's not always action.
Yeah.
And he's done different things.
His role in this movie is like Olivia Munn in the Predator movie, where it made no sense. Like there was no need to make him ex-military guy who can fight everybody. Like it made no sense. Like,
oh, and we've seen that in several movies here recently, where like out of nowhere someone has I was a sniper. Wait a minute, you trained as a nurse. Where'd that come from?
That's it.
But as Stacy says, we are much better looking than Hugh Jackman.
Or Huge Ackman, as Night in the Museum labeled him.
Oh, that's what you guys watch that one and then he's
a much better Hugh Jackman.
He's on stage. He goes, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Goes, Wolverine. Well, you're not Wolverine. You're Hugh Jackman.
It definitely looks a lot sillier when he's not Wolverine.
Yeah, and I like that you make fun of himself, but yeah, he's done others. I love him. I think he's a great actor, and I think this was
Jill
honed in
out too. The girl in this who plays May is her name.
Yeah,
the girl he's looking for. According to Jill, she is with him in The Greatest Showman too. Those two star off each other.
That's Rebecca Ferguson. She was in Dr. Sleep. She's done Life. She's done a bunch of stuff. She's a good actor. She was in Men in Black International, played Riza.
Mission Impossible. That's where I saw her.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure. Wait, this doesn't say Greatest Showman, so she might be wrong.
No, she was in that. She played Jenny Lind. Yep, she played the character Jenny Lind
here
in The Greatest Showman.
Greatest Showman. Yep. So she was in that.
And then she's done a couple of the Mission Impossible movies, Rogue Nation, and then Fallout. So she's been around for a while. A couple TV series since starting around '99. But yeah, she's got a good resume on some of this stuff. So she's Men in Black as a kid. So she sounds like she'd be good. I just could get into it. And
her character in this that's the other thing. They try to spend the whole movie making it like all intriguing, like, oh, what's happening with this girl? You really don't care about her. They don't do a good job with that character. And it's just like, at one point you're just like, I really don't, just kill her off so we don't have to look for her anymore, so we can end the movie.
Yeah. This is like in comics, and I see this a lot of times in independent comics, is they have a great idea and they tell the story and they think they're telling the story that makes you care about the thing they care about. Yeah. But realistically, you don't. You care about something else.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it too. I think this story was more about the gimmick. It was like they had a premise of, well, what if you could go into your memories and relive memories? And so they had a premise, a gimmick, but then they built, it's like, well, we need a story to tell. So they came up with this story to reveal the gimmick. And you need more, like Walking Dead, for instance, when it was really good. Mm-hmm. The zombies are the gimmick, but they had a story that was good. So that's why the gimmick worked and it carried on. Hunger Games, the gimmick, once the gimmick was revealed, the story's weak if no one cares once the gimmick is revealed. Same with
Right.
the other one that was like Hunger Games, anyways, with number 4, Shay, whatever her name is. Anyways, that one,
Oh yeah,
Divergent.
yeah, Divergent series. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was
Those
really
the
good
Divergent series
until the
and
gimmick was revealed.
yeah. So, but yeah, it's the more and more you really describe this movie because again, I hadn't got into seeing exactly what this was. I think she tried to write a very upper crust intelligent Total Recall and failed miserably.
There you go. Yeah.
They should have gone to Mars.
Now, to be fair to her, since we don't know the original script, this could also be Warner Brothers tinkering, where they know better.
At least according to IMDb, they list no other writers. And they could have, I brought them in and they ghostwrite, don't want their name on it. And that happens. There are people that come in, I'll work on this, and they know it's crap. And they're like, yeah, don't even put my name on it. Some will use a fake name, but there's some like, I don't even want my name attached to this, but I'll work on it as a ghostwriter. You keep me quiet, and that happens a lot. And of course, Jill was more concerned if she had enough frozen Coke left to carry her through the end of the movie.
Now, to be fair, almost all movies, that's her concern. So
yes,
even
that and ranch,
really good movies.
that and ranch popcorn. So you should just get her like the big bottle of ranch, and she just should have it with her popcorn. She can constantly just. So, but yes, I don't know. We can stop harping on it because we know it's crap, but
it's crap.
And it's a shame because
will go down as the worst movie of the year. That's what I think.
I would think so. Yes, it sounds like it. I mean, like I said, I couldn't get past the first half hour, and I thought it was just me. And now I'm realizing that no, I was falling asleep because I was bored. So yeah, it's a shame. So, trying to think what else we got on our agenda here today.
So let's see here. Let me close out all my reminiscent stories so I can stop reminiscing.
Yeah.
There was one cool concept I'll throw out that was in the movie. This is my last comment. So you can do what's called burning a person, where if they relive a memory too much, it'll actually become so seared into their brain that they can't get out of the memory. And so there's this scene where Hugh Jackman, there's a bad guy. I'm just going to say it because no one's going to see this movie.
Yeah.
So he creates a personal hell for him. The guy had gotten burned at one point, and he gets him trapped in the memory of being on fire, so that the rest of this guy's life, he will feel like he's burning and on fire. So he traps him in his memory as a revenge for doing something bad. So I was like, whoa, that was cool. So there, best 30 seconds of the movie was that.
Yeah. I started a new series on Netflix. I'm going to share the screen here. I've only watched the first couple episodes. I like it so far. It's called The Defeated. And it takes place post World War II in Germany. The main character there, the guy in the middle, is a New York police department officer. And the premise is he goes over there to help them establish one of the precincts. It's kind of a trial thing. Of course, he gets in the smallest precinct with no money and everything's, and it's run by mostly women. But his ulterior motive is he's looking for his brother who disappeared at the end of the war. And they think they claim he defected. So I've watched the first two. You can binge the whole thing. It's kind of it's good, but it's not a series I can really just watch episode after episode. I have to watch an episode and then I watch the next one the next day, just kind of letting it sink in and that. So I kind of really enjoy it. Just popped on Netflix here recently. And but like I said, 1946 Berlin it's set in. One thing about it is there is a lot of scenes where it's subtitled because they are speaking German or even Russian, because it takes place in Germany where they've already divided the city up between the U.S., French, Russian, and I forget who else. British, I think it was. Yeah, British. So it's if you don't like subtitles, you may have trouble because there's some long scenes where it's all subtitled. So,
right.
But I recommend checking it out, see if you like it. I like it. I'm looking forward to getting through the whole season. Just not rushing because it's not like a Stranger Things or something like that where you get into it and you're like, oh my god, I gotta see what happens next. I gotta see what happens next. This is a series that if they did it once a week, I'd be good with. And every week I'd be enjoying seeing it, but I wouldn't feel like I can't wait. So
right. I'm not going to get into reviews of this, but I just finished I'm at the mid-season point of season 2 of Evil. It's on CBS's All Access, well now Paramount Plus or whatever they call it. I really am enjoying this. It's a very dark series. I definitely wouldn't recommend it for kids. They get into some darker aspects of, they deal with exorcisms and demons and angels and religion and faith and science, and they're kind of merge it all into one here. I am enjoying this, but it is an intense series. So, definitely, be conscientious of whether or not this is the right series for you to watch. But I just hit the halfway mark of season 2, which I think I'm only a couple days away from the next season starting. So that's awesome.
Sunday it starts back up the 29th. So I love it. Kevin and I talked about it. We're both caught up on it. Excited about the new episode coming out this weekend. Probably watch it after I get back next week. Great actors all the way around. I love the antagonist in this, which is the guy on the far right of the picture there.
Ben from Lost.
Ben from Lost.
He's forever Ben in my mind.
Yeah. And there's a lot of other actors they're not showing here that
Luke Cage.
Really just,
you got Luke Cage there.
He's a phenomenal actor. I really like him a lot.
Actually, I think Luke Cage did a disservice to him as an actor because I think it was a very stoic character as a whole. I really like him in this one better. As an actor, I think he does a phenomenal job in this. The basic premise is you got Luke Cage there along with these other two. I always forget their real names. Actually, I don't even think I know their names on the show. Every time I see him, it's like, okay, it's Father Luke Cage, it's Ben from Lost, and the other two. But they're this team. They investigate things for the church. And when there's a case of demonic possession in the Catholic Church, they investigate it and they like to thoroughly test it. They want to exhaust all worldly explanations, medical explanations. They want to test it on all fronts before they declare something as a demonic possession. So this is the team that goes to assess it. 2 of them are secular, whereas Luke Cage is religious in this one. He's an aspiring priest. They go and they review these different cases, but they do such a good job of explaining things and in a way where a lot of times these things get disproved, but not in a way you think. They're disproved in a way where you could, as a viewer, is it the demonic is working through the worldly, and so they can explain it through the world, but it still doesn't mean it's not demonic. It's very interesting, and they leave it up for you, the viewer, to decide. They don't try to push you into believing or disbelieving, is how I see it, and how they present their stuff. So very good, very well balanced in the writing, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, well, you've got I was pull up the cast real quick. Yeah, Katya Herber, she plays Kristen. She's the main female.
Kristen, that's it.
And then you've got Mike Coulter plays David there. That's Luke Cage. And then Asif Mandvi. Now, if you look at his name, it looks like as if, but it's Asif Mandvi plays Ben there. So I see the other guy there. It's not the Ben from Lost. He's Ben. The guy that was Ben from Lost, that's Michael Emerson. His name is Leland Townsend, which just sounds like a slimy name, And
he does a good job at playing a slimy character.
Yeah, but it's also got, and she's not shown here, but Christine Lottie. She's in this, and she's phenomenal as the mom to the Kristen character.
Grandma to the kid.
Grandma Kid, she's really good. Peter Scolari plays a bishop. You might remember him from Bosom Buddies with Tom Hanks way back in the day. And then they added a new nun this year. And the first little bit I'm watching, I was like, who is this? Well, it's she was one of the aunts in the My Big Fat Greek Wedding movies, and she's a funny actress. But I like her as a nun in the second season here.
Yeah.
So
it's funny how, like, same with the Dracula. The BBC Dracula, they came out. There's something about the old nuns that are just scary. Like it's like it's like, don't mess with her.
Yeah, but definitely
like these little tiny frail women too. But
she's tough. I wouldn't mess with her. She's one of those. She's not one of those nuns that come across like they're gonna whoop you the ruler. She just looks like she could just whoop you. Yeah, she's a tiny little thing, but she could just whoop you. But then the whole time
she call fire from heaven on you.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, she's kind of like me and Sister Teresa, like this,
Exactly.
So, but I definitely recommend Evil. It's a lot of fun. It's a good show on that. So, yeah, I can't wait to start watching that again. I did see where they're finishing up filming the Stranger Things. We should get that next year because I mentioned that earlier. There's a lot of other cool stuff coming out. Real quick though, this weekend, Kevin and I will be doing the Bardstone thing out at the Colorado Springs Comic-Con. So definitely check that out. They got a lot of guests, but they got a neat setup. It's going to be in a hockey arena, and we're on the main floor. Here's a link to the site there for everybody to check out. So definitely come out and check us out there. We'll be all over there. This is our first time doing this show. Love being out, going back out to the Colorado, Denver area, about an hour or so from Denver. Get to see my buddy Jeff Veith will be out there. He's coming on Saturday. And then we do dinner with him on Sunday night so we can see his son Jalen, who's got to work Saturday. But definitely, it's a lot of cool stuff going on, and it's a good sized show, but it's not too big. But it's a very celebrity heavy show, so that'll be kind of interesting. But a lot of people like Breckin Meyer. They got Brian O'Halloran from Clerks. They just finished filming Clerks 3.
You got the forger there, the Emily Swallow from the Mandalorian.
Yep, Kevin was talking about that the other day, and then they got Chris Bartlett from the Mandalorian.
Nice.
So he was in that, and then
Honky
Tonk Man. Yep. It's a mix of people. They got one of the Impractical Jokers guys, Jeff Anderson, who's also in Clerks, and he just started doing shows, so that's kind of interesting way to meet him. They got to Leave It to Beaver. They got Jerry Mathers as well as Tony Dow.
Wow.
So definitely check. So it's an interesting mix all over the place of that. Yeah. From Saved by the Bell, they got Lark Voorhees, Mark Paul Gosselaar. Originally, they were supposed to have Shriek, but unfortunately, he passed away. Yeah. Misty Rosas is going to be there. She was from Mandalorian. She's played the Frog Lady as well as, So she's a great in-character actor. Stuff like that. Peter Dante from all the Adam Sandler movies.
Oh, Shannon Elizabeth. She was just at another show last weekend, I think.
So here in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Her and Muse were here in Ann Arbor doing the Astronomicon. Unfortunately, they were booked up, or else I would have got a table there. And of course, Flash Gordon and Sam Jones is going to be there.
Sam Jones is great.
Yeah. So it's going to be a fun time. We're excited about checking that out for the first time and seeing everything there. So come out and see us on that. And then we got more shows coming up. We'll be announcing over the next couple weeks. So,
well, last thing I'll bring up. So we did have the Spider-Man trailer hit.
Oh yeah.
So I think Marvel's hand was forced by the leak. I don't think they wanted to send this out yet because they just released the Eternals trailer, and this is completely knocked the Eternals off the map. Nope. And to be also, when the Eternals launched, I really saw no fire on the internet for the Eternals.
No.
Did you?
No, I didn't. In fact, I didn't even realize the Eternals had released until I saw. And I didn't even know there was a leak from Spider-Man because I really haven't been paying attention to anything online for a while.
Yeah.
So I missed that there was a leak, and then also I was like, "Oh, the trailer's out." I just happened to pull up, and our good friend Sean Forney had shared that it was out, so I watched it right away, and then I saw, oh, there was the Eternals one too, and I haven't watched the Eternals trailer yet.
Yeah, so we got Shang-Chi coming out. Then they started ramping up the advertising for Eternals. They just released the movie poster and the trailer, and then like 2 days later, this leak came out. It was filmed on a cell phone filming a monitor, and the release of the trailer, the special effects weren't added yet, so you could see what the trailer looked like without all the special effects. Marvel pulled it down, and then like a day or two later released the finished trailer. So I think their hand got forced because this is completely overshadowing the Eternals now.
Yeah. And Eternals comes out before this.
Yeah, this is December.
Yeah, Christmas.
And Eternals, well, Shang-Chi is in 9 days.
Yep.
Eternals is like October, I think. Something like that. But we'll see. I'm going to see the Eternals, but so far from the trailer, I'm not excited for it. But maybe they'll ramp up the trailers for it. They'll come out with a Shang-Chi too. The first one, I was like, okay, I'll see it. It was the second trailer where I was like, okay, now I want to see it. So they could be doing the same thing with the Eternals.
Yeah, they really forced it because the Eternals comes out November 5th. And I know there's been a lot of speculation online about, when they're going to do a Spider-Man trailer. When are they going to do a Spider-Man trailer? I mean, and this one actually wasn't even a teaser. It was a full-blown trailer. And I agree with it. It had to been forced on that. I personally thought they would have done a small teaser here shortly, and then like probably with Shang-Chi, and then in November we would get the full trailer for December with the Eternals.
Now, here's where the smart marketing might have occurred, though. This could be just like with Deadpool, the leak being planned to get fire going, because this is really, you got Doctor Strange. We're bringing the multiverse together. We saw Doc Ock from the Peter Parker or the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
They hinted at some at Electro, Sandman, Lizard, Green Goblin. So we got 5 villains from different universes. They didn't reveal any of the other Spider-Men in this one. But here's the thing. This is setting the internet on fire. So this could cause people to want to see Shang-Chi. This could cause people to want to see the Eternals, to see how they will lead into Spider-Man. Yeah. So this could have been on purpose too.
And it could be, yeah. So it's... I don't know. It's gonna be interesting in that. There is an interesting
action they wanted on the Eternals trailer, so they're like, let's release the Spider-Man.
Well, there is an article. It's Cosmic Book News, so of course, I don't know how true this is. You know, it could be just them BSing like a lot of them do. But there's supposedly some talk that if Shang-Chi bombs at the box office, which they're saying it's expected to do in this article, that Disney may delay the release of the Eternals. So, of course, this one's calling it, saying that Kevin Feige's new woke, phase 4 is the problem. But it sounds like they don't like anything that's come out recently. Yeah. So I can't trust that. It sounds like an op-ed that is just someone's moronic opinion. So,
yeah.
I personally think that, it's, Shang-Chi, I recommend I believe Shang-Chi's only being released in the theaters. They're not doing the Disney Plus aspect of that, if I'm correct.
No, they are not doing. They're I know for sure Spider-Man is not going to be on Disney Plus. I think Shang-Chi is also not, thanks to Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. So I think that now
here's
if
where
Shang-Chi doesn't do well, it's because people just don't understand where this comes from in the comics, and there's a lot of cool stuff in the comics from this that's going to come out, and it was always more minor stuff that wasn't mainstream, so it's not like the mainstream Captain Americas and things like that.
So. But here's some real world things that are happening that you got to take into account with Shang-Chi. China has a lot of strict rules on what can be released and can't be released, and Shang-Chi it looks like is going to be banned from China. China is a massive player in the global movie box office total. So if it does get banned in China, it probably will do bad compared to other global releases for Marvel. So, that is a real world issue that may not have anything to do with how phase 4 is, turning out or anything. It's just,
right.
You take China out of the equation. A lot of studios will bend over backwards to make China happy. They will not cast certain actors or make sure certain elements are left out of the storyline just so China will show them, because they have rules against magic and religion. And if anybody is from Taiwan, forget it. They'll ban you. So there's a lot there. They are also Eternals may also be banned from China as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the whole thing is Chinese is a big market. The problem with the Chinese market has been that even if they ban it, it's going to be immediately bootlegged and all over the country anyways.
Yeah.
So that's part of the issue with them anyways on this stuff. So,
yep.
But
things are looking up for Marvel. I'm excited for it. We also have a new for Mandalorian. I think the behind the scenes with Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker, how he made his appearance. I think they're releasing that in the Disney Gallery, I think this week.
Okay.
I think they're coming out. I want to say it was August 28th, but something like that. Probably this Friday. Disney Gallery.
Yeah.
Season 2. I can't remember what day it comes out. August 25th. That's today. So today it comes out, according to IMDb.
Okay.
So they're going to show how they brought Mark Hamill on set and how the process of de-aging him as to become Return of the Jedi Luke that we know.
Okay.
So we'll have to watch for that.
Excellent. Well, hey, this was a great show. I will be back next week in time to do the show on Wednesday. So I'll have a review of the Comic-Con as well as everything else. Everybody enjoy the rest of this week. Scott, we will talk more
Take
here
care.
in just a minute. Yep. Bye.